What's up, everybody? Brett here, and boy, do I have a treat for you guys today. We have a subscriber submission sent in. The name is JG Schultz, but I know that this is Evil Sun's Big Mac, someone who submitted a lot of really good replays to the channel over the last year for sure. And it's a 3v3. It's going to be epic. He's he's rocking Grom the Paunch himself. He's got River Trolls. I love the Broken Tusk mob, by the way. One of my favorite units on the Greenskin roster I never get to use. And the Big One himself. And we're gonna take a look at this bad boy right off the bat because this battle gets underway super fast. This map is really conducive to like rushing. This is like nothing in terms of distance in between these two armies. But okay, so we've got the Greenskins way back here. Let's get a little bit of animation going. We've got the Goblins up front. We've got, I like this secondary line with the River Trolls. Is exactly how I do it myself. And then you've got the Fanatics back here who have been reworked so that the Fanatics that they actually toss, the Loons of 8 Peaks, these guys do a ton of damage and you can aim them a heck of a lot better than you used to be able to. But obviously, guys, this is the centerpiece here, the Big Un, the Rogue Idol. I want to pay as much attention to this unit as I can because I haven't really got a chance to play with the Rogue Idols at all. And I love to watch their animations. They have some of the best animations in all of the game. Top tier, right up there with Minotaurs. And we've got, of course, Grom the Paunch here on his chariot. He's got some of the best animations as well. He's got his little buddy Niblet who comes down and gives him a snack while he's just chilling. And Cav in the back, of course, to protect your investment. We've got Chaos up front. Let them do the heavy infantry lifting. We've got 4 groups of Chosen right up front. We got Halberds, Standard, Halberds, and Great Weapons. Kind of a weird mix with some Chaos Marauders. If you're going to go super elite in terms of infantry for Chaos, definitely bring at least one chaff unit to throw in the front to get hit by all the range stuff that's going to melt you when you're coming in. But yeah, the Soul of Damnation, the Pulsating Pleasure Cannon itself, next to a Standard Hell Cannon. It's already getting sniped by something. I would assume Dwarves, but they're getting it right back. The Dwarves have Bolt Throwers, Cannons. Not the best map for cannons, and for whatever reason they decided to deploy right behind this big hill, making their cannons completely ineffective. Very strange. Gyrocopters up in the sky, I like that choice a lot on maps like this. 3v3s especially, you can get away with a lot. Normally these units would be able to be focused quite easily, but in a 3v3, people's, their attention is split. It's easier to get away with using those types of units. You've got Miners, no blasting charges. We've got Dwarf Warriors here lined up, Longbeards with great weapons on the flanks. They make great flank protectors. They do have charge defense against large. Even though they're not halberd units or, spear units, they do still bring that. Sometimes people can forget. We've got Gromrindle and a Master Engineer, oddly enough. I would only ever bring a Master Engineer and then deploy him next to my artillery so that I could give them those buffs. Odd that those buffs are not present. Or those buffs are present, but they're not being kept with the artillery. Reload speed, things like that. We've also got 2 Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes. Kolek, the Big Daddy, is going to have to watch out for that. That could be quite dangerous. He's very susceptible. He's got, a huge model that basically just gets hit by anything and everything. And then over here, let's not ignore what's going on this side of the battlefield. A Paladin, who is anti-large, just got shot point blank in the face. And King Lewin Leoncoeur are going in on the Necrofex Colossus and Count Nautilus right here on the flanks. And something is taking these guys out, these Knights of the Realm. I believe it's the Shade Wraith Gunners who are just absolutely melting them. Is there anything else that could have been destroying them? Probably these 2 Necrofex Colossi were taking them out on the charge. But Knights of the Realm and Questing Knights, heavy armor piercing on the Questing Knights, but heavy anti-large on the Knights of the Realm. So if they can actually get into this, they'll crush it. But it looks like they're going to be quickly supported by the Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs. Also some cannons here backing them up. Yeah, just lots and lots of halberds and a Rotting Leviathan. I'm loving these teams. Oh, also some Vanguard deployed Scurvy Dogs. No doubt are going to get in on this field trebuchet. If I was Bretonia, I would probably not be suspecting this either. 4 units of Foot Squires, some Peasants, and a Damsel with the Lore of Beasts, probably for Manticore summons, but also could just be for some solid Flock of Dunes. I would ignore these Bolt Throwers, I think, and just back up my artillery and just save it. The best way to get value in this battle from this artillery is not to counter the Dwarves' artillery, but just to hit huge blobs of infantry. We've got an ancient Stegodon here with the Engine of the Gods. That's not a unit you get to see every day. Let's see if he's able to get some big hits. Once again, 3v3s open up the potential for units like this. You know, you realize that some person on the other side of the battle is not paying as good of attention as they could be to their massive infantry blob or infantry line, and you just get free kills. And we'll try and pay attention to see if that unit does anything as well. We've got Temple Guard, Sword of Spears. We've got Krokgar on Grimlock coming through the forest, and it looks like there's going to be a bit of a 2v2 here with a 1v1 perhaps on this side. King Lewin's getting a bit over eager, I think, and trying to get too much value without bringing forward his infantry and stuff, and those scurvy dogs are about to destroy his artillery. He might just get Count Noctilus. An Invocation of the Heck is going to try and keep him alive. I don't know why this guy's not just bringing all of his halberds in here. I certainly would. Broken Tusk Mob are going to be trying to go through the forest with these Forest Goblin Spider Riders. But yeah, the Greenskins plus Chaos is going to be more than enough to break this Dwarven front line. But the Lizardmen are going to be allowed to kind of go up and around this flank. We're going to have to see... Oh man, the Chaos player is just blobbing up. He ran in with Kolek. He might get some good damage, but now he's completely surrounded. This blob works in your favor. Oh god. Oh. Okay. I mean, was that a good use? If he had waited just another second, he could have melted 3 units of Chosen. So, not the best use there. The big one's up to 8 kills, probably has just started throwing. Count Noctilus has been sniped successfully. All of the Orc Cav has snuck through the lines here. They took a second to melt these Iron Drakes, and now they're going to shut down 2 cannons and a bolt thrower, and with only Grombrindle back here to protect them. The Scurvy Dogs, they did their job. They took offline that artillery. Oh god. The Skink Priest of the Lore of Heavens came over to this blob and just nuked it with a chain lightning. Good on him. And the Pharaoh Manticore summons, which we suspected as well, getting tied down. Trying to take offline those Shade Wraith Gunners. This fight is just a mess. For whatever reason, the Bretonnian player is not bringing forward his Foot Squires. Had he done that this entire time, the Foot Squires would already be here, and this fight would already be over. So, the Skink cohorts are shutting down both of these cannons. Not sure why they were left unprotected. They're a massive investment. Longbeards flanking for reasons I don't quite know. Maybe they're just chasing these forest goblins and they're getting lost in the woods. Let's see, another big spell perhaps. This would be a great place for the Engine of the Gods to use its payload. But that was just a Thunderbolt. Not very good here. Mostly good versus artillery. And very tightly packed blobs. Krokgar was on the hunt, and he's taken down Kolek Suneater, who went in a bit prematurely. And in order to help him, the Greenskins came in with the River Trolls, trying to provide some mass, no doubt, and some heavy armor-piercing weapon damage. Surround Krokgar. Grombrindle has no fear, was popped. You'll see all of the leadership for all of these units just went back to normal. Grombrindle's almost dead, getting beaten down by Grom the Paunch, who on his chariot, he's got regeneration. Not going to be easy to take down. He can stay mobile. And these are all Dwarf Warriors. The Orc Boarboy Biggins and the Broken Tusk Mob are heavily armored, and they do great damage. They should be able to clean up this entire fight if they so choose. Master Engineer, not sure what he's shooting at. The big gun. In here, fighting against the Ancient Stegodon with the Engine of the Gods. Not a fight you get to see very often. Let's K-mode this stuff. Hell yeah. Only in Warhammer, guys. He was being supported by some of these Chosen. It looks like they might be either routed off or being pulled back. Come on, give me a big attack. Krokgar's coming in. Oh, Jesus. He just like throws his arm and then pulls it back. Very cool. But the River Trolls are coming in for the rear attack. And this is really not a fight that Krokgar wants, I would suspect. So as these rogue idols... Ooh, made him whiff that there. Pulled out right at the last second. As the rogue idol starts to die, his weapon strength goes up and up and up. Right now he's at 870. But his HP is going down and his armor is going down. You can see his armor has gone down to 90. And this is going to be a brutal engine. Oh no. Just deletes these Marauders, these Goblins, and these Night Goblin Fanatics. Maybe a tiny bit of friendly fire there on the Temple Guard. Not relevant when you consider how much damage he did. And it looked like it even clipped Kolek for a little bit of damage as well. Kolek is the boss. He's the final boss of the game, but he can't come in still like that against Grimlock and an Ancient Stegodon and expect to have any amount of success. The Rogue Idol has taken a lot of punishment. Not really able to use its ranged function. Are these two engines still alive? Looks like they're not. It's funny to see that their models are still alive, but all of their units died because their crews are unbreakable Chaos Dwarves. So they fought to the last man, but the models themselves weren't touched. That's very strange. Normally you'll see the models destroyed before that ever happens. Grom, you can see his healing cap. You can actually see it. That's how much the regeneration has played a factor for him this game. The Master Engineer has been pushed off. He's going to come back in here with the support of these Chaos Spawn. The Chosen, probably hoping to snipe out and get a good rear charge on Krotgar, take him out of this fight. Perhaps start to swing the leadership. These Gyrocopters, the Skink Priests, they're all unchallenged in the air. There's really, I don't think there's anything on the battlefield actually that can touch them. Yeah, and I mean, this fight was won by the Lord sniping and then the kind of lazy infantry follow-up. Alright, Big Boulder was tossed. If you can get Krotgar and the Ancient Stegodon off the battlefield, these Longbeards coming in very healthy, but just a little too late. They're going to get overwhelmed basically for free. And probably not get any value whatsoever. This is just an overwhelming amount of weapon strength and DPS that's getting tossed into them. They'll hold for a second and then break. I guess they're allowing for these Gyrocopters to get some good shots in the back here. Looks like they might be focusing down Grom the Paunch. Do they do fire damage on the ammunition? They do not. So they're not going to be doing any bonus damage versus a regenerating target. We've got some returning Temple Guard Skinks here. Could be pulled back into the fray. We've got a Master Engineer getting chased off by the Scurvy Dogs. Scurvy Dogs are probably the MVP for the Vampire Coast. He's been very mobile with them, and that's a good use. Use them to chase down Krotgar, which is look like what he has his sights on. That's what I would be looking at as well. Stay mobile with Grom the Paunch. Oh, nice. Alright, the one thing that they have that can hit units in the air. Stay mobile with Grom, chase down routing units. Same thing with the Scurvy Dogs. I would probably just send one after that. And then I would have kept one on the Master Engineer for sure. No reason to let hero units with Encourage come back to this fight. Lots of goblins and stuff coming back as well. Looks like a Thunderbolt. Ooh, that actually did a lot of damage. Despite the fact that he moved a bit out of the way, it still did a lot of damage. And I would definitely, if you want to keep the Biggin here throwing rocks, don't let him get sniped by the Paladin, who is anti-large, and he's gonna win this fight easily. The animations of the Rogue Idol are meant to kill huge swaths of infantry, not necessarily to deal great damage to a single entity. He's got high melee attack, 73. And that's it, he's broken. Interesting to see him run away like he's scared. He's like, no. He's a large pile of feces and the belief in Gork and Mork, and that's literally all he is. If I was this team here, let's say I was the Chaos player, I would have stood all of my Chaos units around the Rogue Idol, make like a triangle around him so that no one could get in on him, and just let him throw boulders like an artillery piece. And then if you want to bring in this Paladin, I'm like, go for it, buddy. I'll shut you down right away with my Chosen Halberds. Because you can't be mobile with a force like this. You have to be sitting still. And with an artillery piece, you need your enemies to come to you. Probably the best thing that the Greenskin player has going for him is that he's got regeneration on 3 of his strongest units. Bit of a whiff there on the Thunderbolt again. But I love the play from the Skink Priest here. One of the better units for sure from the Lizardman player. He's gotten a lot of value. Not a lot of kills, but he's done a lot of single target damage. From downtown, the Boulder of Gork or Mork comes in, killing some peasants. Not the best targets. I hope he switches over to this massive blob of Foot Squires, which you can now see coming out of the forest. They were hidden while they're in the forest. Oh, and the Skink Priest is going to go in. Only 117 HP left. Did he switch? He did. I think he did. Evil Sun's Big Mech is a good player. He doesn't miss opportunities like that. Normally, if I'm thinking something, he goes ahead and he does it as well. Very good comeback here, and I will call it a comeback because the Bretonnian player so heavily destroyed the vampire counts that it was basically a 3v2. Let's look at what the vampire count was able to do. I mean, he was able to destroy the Cav. I'll give him that. The Cav was a non-factor. He did also pick off the field trebuchet, and King Lewin Leoncoeur, the paladin, they were so heavily destroyed that they were... I mean, they were kind of offline, right? What he had left to contribute was a full stack of foot squires and a damsel with the lore of beast, who didn't have many winds of magic left because she had used it all to try and subdue the Vampire Coast. So at the very least, the Vampire Coast player absorbed a lot and forced a lot of resources to be used by the Bretonnian player. But I will say again that had he just brought his infantry up at whatever speed, just to get them in the battle, you know, after you sniped out the Lord, he would have cleaned up the Vampire Coast player much sooner. I would recommend not deploying your Necrofex Colossi by themselves with no ground support. Like, he had these polearm units here that he could have just stood on top of, and then all of the cav charges would have been completely negated. That's one way to do it for sure. And the Rotting Leviathan, people don't think about these types of strategies as much. The Rotting Leviathan is not so much good just for its tankiness as a damage absorber, but what it can also do is eat charges. It can just be a stupid fat model that sits in front of your Necrofex Colossus, your Count Nautilus, and Bretonnian flying lords can't just come in and snipe you. Their models will literally hit the other models of the Rotting Leviathan and not be able to get clean charges. And you can screen people out that way. You can do it with a lot of stuff. I saw in a tournament that I was watching that Turin was playing in. Turin is a great YouTuber. I would recommend subscribing to him, especially if you watch my stuff. He does stuff all the time. But he was using the War Wagons, one of my favorite units for the Empire. And I think a lot of people forget that in addition to them being great range tools and highly mobile, they're also decent chariots in the late game to route stuff off. But they're also good just for being stupid, big, blocky units that sit and get in the way and ruin charges. Greenskin player, Evil Sun's Big Mech, you did great, man. I like that you kept the big gun in the game the entire time. Even after he routed, you turned him around and got some good use out of him. The goblins were there to die. You stayed mobile with Grom the Paunch. I find he's a lot squishier than at first he may seem. You do have to micro him. If you do not micro Grom the Paunch and you leave him in any type of unfavorable position, you need to be prepared to watch him die because he goes down quite fast. And then, you know, I think the Chaos player was perhaps just a bit inexperienced. To me, this is a build that screams inexperience. It's just, it's unfocused. And if you're going to take Chosen Halberds, like the slowest, hardcorest unit in the game, you leave them behind. These are not a charge up the front line type of unit. And Kolek, you know, you could, with the terrain was the only thing that let Kolek do this. Had this been a flat map, he would have got gunned down instantly by 2 cannons, a bolt thrower, a master engineer, and some gyrocopters. Like, he ran right into them. He would have got pinned, killed, done. Right? So, and crazy enough, with the terrain as well, the Soul of Damnation and the Hell Cannon had massive advantages due to their arcing fire. They could have just shot over that hill, no problem, but they were deployed too close to the action. They needed to be deployed a bit further back and then protected. So that's a little bit of my criticism there. And then great Skink Priest play, as I've already said. The Thunderbolt, I realize now, is a great counter to the Rogue Idols. I'd like to test that a little bit more on my own. And the Engine of the Gods, thank you, dear sir, for bringing this unit. Super fun. 145 kills. A bit misleading. They were mostly goblins. But what are you going to do? You got to take what you can get. There was a potential there to just melt 3 units of Chosen, which would have done my heart good had he been able to pull that off. And then the Dwarf player pretty much got ransacked. The Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedoes weren't really able to get their value. Artillery, literally the worst artillery you could bring on this map. And then the Master Engineer was not kept with them, so they were not able to get any of those advantages. And he was not able to accrue much value either. He's a difficult unit to use, I will say. I would highly recommend not bringing a Master Engineer if you've not practiced and played with them a lot, especially in campaign. And campaign is where you learn how to use this unit to its fullest effect. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Brett. My channel is Goodtalk Gaming. If you would like to send me replays, I've got a couple on deck now. Thank you so much to the subscribers who sent those in. All you got to do is join the Discord, go to Total War Warhammer Replays, and then go ahead and put your replay in there. Just make sure it's recent, and it'd be nice as well if it was on a a good map with decent players using some of the new units. All that stuff helps. It makes it a more exciting cast. Obviously, this was a 3v3, which is right up my alley. So, all right, guys, take care, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.